So first we're going to make the base. To make the base, we're going to start with a magic ring. To make the magic ring, you're going to loop it over 2 fingers, go in with your hook, go under the first string and go over the next, and pull out a loop. Then you're going to make a chain. That will be your magic ring. Now we're going to make another chain 1 and then 6 single crochets into the magic ring. So we're just going to go into the magic ring, pull out a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. You are going to do this 5 more times. Now you should have 6 single crochets in your magic ring. You're going to pull the tail of the yarn so that the magic ring shrinks. Make sure to pull it tight so that your project becomes a circle. To finish this row off, you're going to make a slip stitch in the first stitch that we made in the first row. You're going to skip the chain 1 and just go into the first single crochet. Now we have finished the first row. To make the next row, we are going to be making increases into each of the stitches. However, as you can see, we're going to be using half double crochets. You're going to yarn over, go into the stitch, pull out a loop, and go through all 3 loops. Also, since this is an increase row, you're going to go into the same stitch 2 times. By the end of this row, you should have 12 half double crochets. Once you have reached the end of the row, we're going to make a slip stitch into the first stitch like last time. So you're just going to go into the stitch and pull out a loop and go through your stitch, just like that. That concludes the second row. To make the third row, we're going to start with a chain 1. This time, we're not going to be making increases into each of the stitches. We're only going to be making an increase and then a half double crochet and then continuing with that pattern. So in the first stitch, we're going to make a half double crochet increase. Like so. However, in the next stitch, we're only going to be making 1 half double crochet. Once you do that, you're going to make another half double crochet increase in the next stitch. The pattern then continues with a half double crochet, then an increase, and a half double crochet again, and so forth. To end off the row, you're going to make a slip stitch into the first stitch of the row. You should end up with 18 half double crochets. To make the next row, you're going to start with a chain 1. For this row, we're going to be making an increase and then 2 half double crochets. You will then continue with this pattern. So first, we're going to start by making an increase into the stitch that you just slip stitched in. Once you do that, you're going to make 2 single crochets into the next 2 stitches. You will then continue with this pattern of an increase, 2 single crochets, an increase, and so forth. To end off the row, we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch. This row should end off with 24 half double crochets. Now that we have finished building the increases, we will now start building up the base. So we will start with a chain 1. Then you're going to put half double crochets into each of the stitches. If your project does start warping inwards like mine, you can just pull it out like so. You want to make sure that the tail of your magic ring that you started with is on the inside of your project. Once you finish the row, just slip stitch into the first stitch, making sure to skip the last slip stitch and the chain one. Now, we're going to make 6 more rows of half double crochets. In the end, you should have 7 rows of just half double crochets. Right before you make your last half double crochet on your 7th row, you're going to be changing the color. So you're going to make your half double crochet stitch like normal, but you're going to stop once you have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to take your white yarn or whatever yarn you chose to use and loop it through the 3 loops like so. Now that you have changed your yarn, you can cut the end of your blue string. Now you can finish your 7th half double crochet row with a slip stitch. Also, you can weave in the blue yarn if you want to. Now we're going to be making our decreases. For this row, you're going to be making a decrease in the first stitch, and then you're going to make 2 single crochets and continue. So first you're going to yarn over, and you're going to go into the 2 front loops of the next 2 stitches, like so. So you're going to grab onto the front loop, and then grab onto the front loop of the next following stitch. After that, you're just going to go through both of the blue loops, like so, and then finish off your half double crochet by going through the 3 loops. That will be your decrease. Now you're going to follow that with 2 half double crochets. Once you do that, you're just going to continue with the pattern of a decrease, 2 half double crochets, and so forth. To finish off the row, you're going to make a slip stitch into the first stitch that we made. To make the next row, we're going to start with a chain 1. For this row, we're going to be decreasing and then making a half double crochet and continuing with that pattern. So first, we're going to be doing a decrease. Once you do that, you're going to be doing a normal half double crochet into the next stitch. Now you're just going to continue the pattern of a decrease, a half double crochet, and so forth. Now you're going to finish the row with a slip stitch. At this point, you can start stuffing your crochet project. Once you finish stuffing your crochet project, we can start making the final decreases of the project. For this row, we're going to start with a chain 1. We're going to be making decreases in every single stitch. This will help close the crochet project. In total, you're going to do 6 decreases. Once you finish your decreases, you're going to do a slip stitch into the first decrease. Now to seal in the crochet project, you're going to be making slip stitches all around the hole. For me, I only did one slip stitch. So first you're going to turn your crochet project and go into the first stitch of the decrease, and then you're going to go into the perpendicular stitch and make your slip stitch. Like so. Now you have finished the base. You can now cut the white yarn or make a chain one and then cut the white yarn and pull through with your hook. You can weave in the leftover string later. Now that we have finished making the base, we can make the white circle that goes on the crochet project. To make the crochet circle, it's sort of like making the first part of the base. We're going to start by making a magic circle. You're going to make a chain one and make 6 half double crochets into the magic ring. Tighten the tail and slip stitch into the first stitch. Chain one and make half double crochet increases into each stitch. Finish the row with a slip stitch. Now you can chain one and cut the yarn. Pull through the excess yarn with your hook. To make the white rimming of the boba, we're going to be making double crochets all around the top. So first we're going to be making a slip knot. You're going to go into the blue yarn, where it almost meets the white. We're going to make a slip stitch here. Now we're going to yarn over and make a double crochet. There isn't a specific stitch that you're going to go into, but you're going to go into the top of the blue part. Like so. Now you're just going to go all the way around the white circle making double crochets until you meet back at the first double crochet. To finish off the row, you're going to make a slip stitch into the first double crochet. Now you can chain one and cut off the excess yarn. You can weave in these ends if you would like. To make the boba straw, you're going to put your needle into one of the white stitches. Take your straw color and loop it around the hook. Pull it through the white yarn. Take the excess string and make a chain. Now you're going to take the working yarn and make around 4 chains. Now you're going to be making single crochets into each of those chains. To finish it off, you're going to go back into the same white crochet stitch and make a slip knot. After that, you can chain one and cut off the work. You can weave in the ends after. To sew on the white circle, you're going to need a tapestry needle. Feed the yarn through the needle. You can sew on the white circle any way you want, but this is just how I sewed it on. Continue sewing all the way around the circle until it's secure. After you make a knot in the yarn, you can just cut off the excess. Okay, so now we're going to make the boba pearls. So first you're going to take your tapestry needle and wrap your yarn around it. Pull it but leave an excess amount of yarn on the other side. Now you're just going to keep going around the same stitch until it creates that circle effect. Once the circle of the boba pearl fills in, you can now take both of the ends and tie a knot. After you tied a tight knot, you can now weave in the ends. For me, I just tucked the ends into the inside of the project, like so. Now you can continue making as many boba pearls as you want, but I just made 4. You can use that same method to make the little details on top of the boba cup and on the face. So to make the first eye of the boba, you can just use the same method. After you make the first eye, take your needle and put it under a stitch. After that, put it into a stitch under where you want the next eye to be. This will create the smile. Make sure not to tighten it too much or else the smile will be more straight rather than loose. Now that we have made the smile, you can continue making the next eye using the same method that we used earlier. Once you finish both of the eyes, you can tie knots at the ends and weave them in. Just like that, we are done with our boba crochet plushie. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.